Hello everyone and welcome back to Brainmuffin at the Movies, and it's time for some Star Wars, because you know, there's another Star Wars movie coming out in less than 2 months. I know there's no hype and no one seems to care, but there really is a movie coming out, honest. So, I found this article very interesting. The title alone caught my attention very well because, well, Rey seems to not be familiar to anyone. Han asks Leia who's the girl. She shrugs. Luke doesn't seem to know her from a hole in the wall. Even asks, why are you here, Rey, from nowhere? And then this article comes out. Unsettling Rise of Skywalker theory reveals why Rey is familiar to Luke, Leia, and Han. Now, I've not read this. Their ties to Scavenger of Jakku may date back to the pre-Force Awakens era. Well, everything happens between the movies, doesn't it? Nothing happens in the movies. Everything happens between the movies. Well, between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, nothing really happens. It's literally the next day, or actually 5 seconds later. Rey's backstory is one of the most debated among the Star Wars fan community. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's the most, well, one of the most, yeah. I think the most debated is, do these films really suck, or are they really, really bad? Is it on purpose? While Star Wars The Force Awakens hinted there's a reason she's connected to Luke's blue lightsaber, yep. Last Jedi revealed there was nothing more than the daughter of a filthy junk traders. Either way, Leia Organa, Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker all had the reasons for helping this child of Jakku. Did Luke really help her much? Go away, Rey from nowhere. It's time for the Jedi to die. An unsettling new theory offers an intriguing explanation why Rey already seems familiar. She doesn't seem familiar. They don't know who the heck she is. Speculation, speculation, speculation. After watching The Force Awakens, fans speculated that Rey may not have been as much a stranger to Han, Leia, and Luke as J.J. Abrams made it seem. Technically, Luke didn't interact with Rey until The Last Jedi, but it's hard to believe he would have trained her if she was a complete stranger to him. Yeah, maybe. The trio look at interest at Rey, of course, because she's the Ma Rey Sue. Of course they're going to look at interest of her. Rey going the extra mile to help her in any way they could. Maybe. Han, well, he offered her a job. She didn't take it. Leia reacted rather motheringly toward her, which is true. But this interaction, to me, Rey, for the most part, was Luke's analog in the first movie. And Leia hugs Luke after Ben Kenobi dies. And so, to me, that's what this interaction was. Why Chewie walks right past her, everything else. And Luke trained her in the ways of the Jedi. No, he didn't. Why do all... Even Mark Hamill brought that up. Do I really train Rey? Do I? No, he doesn't. Well, Redditor, you want one monkey may have found out why. The theorists suggest that Luke, Leia, and Han already knew who Rey was when they met her, and that the trio may have had something to do with Rey ended up on Jakku in the first place. Perhaps our heroes stole her away, or had someone, Zori, take her for them to keep her from Palpatine. Yeah, this has kind of been out there. Is she a clone of Anakin? Is she Anakin reincarnated? Is she an old Jedi reincarnated? There's these things have been going around. Think about it. Knowing how protective Han is of the Millennium Falcon, there's no way he would have just offered a total stranger his ship. Did he? He didn't offer it to her. She took it after he died. He offered her to come on board because that's what he said to Luke near the end when he and Chewie are right before the attack on the Death Star. He's leaving. He's using the cover of the confusion to get away. He's got a bounty on his head, and he's got the money to pay it. And that's what happens. So Han, Leia, and Luke may have hoped to protect her from Palpatine years before and felt bad about leaving her behind, or they may have lost her en route to Jakku. Yeah, but see, Han seems surprised that the Millennium Falcon is on Jakku. So them leaving the Falcon there, I don't see that. Yeah, even Maz Kanata, after seeing Han asking Han about Rey's origins in The Force Awakens, took an interest in Rey. It could simply be that Maz, since the Force was strong in her, but perhaps there's more to it than that. It's she Yoda. We know Maz can read people after simply looking into their eyes, and that's the case. There's no reason to ask Han about Rey if Maz could already glean information for herself, which she doesn't share with anyone. And there's also the fact that this scenes cut away before Han can even answer Maz's question about who Rey is. Perhaps that was done to avoid letting the audience know about her ahead of time. Still no, yeah, because, well, no, because Jar Jar doesn't know who she is either, right? It's just mystery. She's just a walking mystery box, Mary Sue mystery box. Still no matter the reasons for the familiarity. The theory certainly lends itself to the idea that Rey is at the center of the new Star Wars trilogy because she was never just a stranger from Jakku. Maybe. Maybe. All right. Okay, let's move on to a second one. So this was another one that I acquired. Star Wars fan noticed a detail. Now, this is from Esquire magazine. Yeah, this other one was from inverse.com. Now, this is interesting because it's Esquire, and Esquire likes their ads, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. Supports a major Kylo Ren theory. Now, I didn't know there were any major Kylo Ren theories, but I know they abound. Exactly who he is. Why is Episode 9 called Rise of Skywalker? Luke is dead. It's been confirmed. We'll be saying goodbye to Leia Organa, Luke Skywalker's twin sister, in the first act of Rise. And based on what we learned from The Last Jedi, Rey is not a Skywalker. And so, though, that training montage in the trailer seems to probably, it seems to be in the beginning of the movie. As of now, we know there is only one remaining Skywalker in the world of Star Wars, Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo. If the big finale of the Skywalker saga is coming to show certain Skywalker rise, we assume that. Now, Kathleen says it doesn't mean anything. So I think this was reading a lot of stuff into it that I don't think is necessarily there. A leading theory has been making the rounds of Star Wars spoiler sites that Ben Solo will fall into death. Okay, this I have seen in multiple places. From multiple, well, just because you see it multiple places, it could be the same source, but you never know. This is a popular way to die in the saga. Yeah, but let's see, who falls? Who falls? No one falls. Some stormtroopers do, but no one falls in the first one. Right? And A New Hope, what became known as A New Hope, was Star Wars when I was a kid. Okay, Darth Maul, yeah. The theory gained a lot of credence recently when fans finally got to see the final trailer. Yeah, because here we have Rey facing the Emperor. Although what I find interesting is what's behind Rey. There's this board, almost like there's a ruin here, which is I find very interesting. Not in front of her. It's almost like it's a dressed stone to a point. And then you have this. I think that's pretty interesting. If you take a look at the top frame, you'll see that the fans are saying about the aforementioned pit. I guess this is here. Rey stands in front of a resurrected Palpatine, alone, ready to confront him and bring an end to the dark side of the Force once and for all. And yeah, the dark side will not end. But where has been, from what the leakers on Reddit are saying, the moody Skywalker nephew is at the bottom of that dark hole. Yeah, maybe this is just a cliff. Maybe he's hasn't made it here yet. But as in the case of Palpatine and Darth Maul, being thrown down a bit doesn't mean that Solo is definitely gone. In fact, the climb back to ground level may explain why the film is called The Rise of Skywalker. He physically rises out. Okay, that's kind of weird. This would explain the spoiler imagery that is leaked earlier this week depicting Ben and Rey both holding blue lightsabers facing down Palpatine together. Okay, great. So he falls down a pit and gets his blue lightsaber from where? Adam Driver's character has climbed out of the depths, both literally and figuratively, rising from the darkness to return to his Jedi roots and bring it into Palpatine. And there's even more present in the comics for Kylo Ren knowing how to get himself into a deep hole. A Redditor posts an image from Marvel's Kylo Ren comic series showing the Sith in training learning how to stop himself from falling in midair with the Force. This may prove useful. Okay, so here we have him with Snoke. Would you have caught me if I hadn't caught myself? And if in so doing so, he would have held you back. Let's see if you would rule by my side, Ren, that I can't have you defeated by heights. Okay. Whether Ben dies and is in a pit or not, it's not likely that the Force-sensitive son of Han Solo survived the events. Yeah, which is stupid, of course, because, Mare Su comes first. The guy has slaughtered tons of innocent people throughout the galaxy. JJ has his work cut out to yeah. See, but the thing with Vader being redeemed, Anakin being redeemed, essentially, he still dies. Obviously, he makes a sacrifice for his son, But it's in the Empire Strikes Back. Luke starts to sense that Vader doesn't want to just flat out destroy him. Yes, Vader does finally get going, gets angry when Luke gets hits him on the arm with his lightsaber. Then he has to take this kid's skills seriously, and he doesn't just kill him, and he lets him escape. And I think the way when he looks back, when they're trying to escape in the Millennium Falcon near the end of Empire Strikes Back, and he's telepathically speaking to his son, I think that is the moment where Luke realizes that there is a hint of Anakin underneath, and that's what he uses in Jedi, and it really becomes a movement toward, it's Luke on one side and the Emperor on the other, trying to keep Anakin from turning one way or the other. So both trying to influence him to their side, as it were. And it takes the thought of his son actually sacrificing himself for Anakin to reemerge out of the midst of Darth Vader and throw Palpatine down the pit. We've not seen any of that. What we have a little bit is a replay of the Empire Strikes Back scene where Ben is trying to get Rey to join him after he's killed Snoke. So that's a very different dynamic than what we have in the originals, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. They kill Ben off. Mare Su can be the only one standing. That's fine. I mean, that's to be expected, and she's still in the same outfit. Well, it's a similar outfit. I think they've changed it slightly. Her armbands are different because here you see she's got these things on her arms. She doesn't have that anymore. It crosses over in the middle. It still kind of does that. I guess it's still, other than the leather band on her arm. Same belt. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of this theory and I've heard this from multiple sources from different angles, that he dies in one way or the other. Which is fine, because the sequel trilogy is just horrible. It's horribly written. I mean, the acting was horrible in the prequels too, in some ways. Not everybody. I thought, Ewan McGregor did a great job. What's it? That's not Fishburne. See, and I get those two. Mace Windu. The actor plays Mace Windu. Oh my goodness. Anyway. There were some good moments in the prequels. The sequel trilogy is just garbage, and it's just trying to rehash the old. It's just Disney trying to reboot it, essentially, and that's all they can do. They can only just take stuff, and this is Disney's always done. This is why they've bought the Grimm's Fairy Tales and restructured them and Disneyfied them. They bought Mary Poppins. None of these things were original, and but time is up, and people aren't putting up with that anymore. But I don't know what to make of this theory. I think it's kind of silly. I think they're reading a lot into the Rise of Skywalker nonsense. I think it's just we won't find out anything about Rey. Rey will just suddenly be unbelievably powerful again, and maybe he falls down and comes back up and somehow has a blue lightsaber, or maybe he turns his own blue. Maybe he replaces the crystal or uses the Force to modify the crystal so that it's correct and it comes out blue instead of red. I mean, I don't know. But the fact that we have Palpatine still alive and all this other, it's just, I think this is because they let Ryan kill off Snoke in the second one. And so they still need a big bad. And, don't let Ryan kill off Snoke in the second one. You guys could have stopped that, but you chose not to. And so now we have the most divisive Star Wars movie ever, and now followed by probably the silliest sequel ever. And who knows? This might put a damper on Star Wars forever. It might just take it a few years. I think it's going to come back. Disney has invested way too much money. They haven't even made a third of their investment back, and merchandise is failing because that's usually where they make the most of the money. And it's essentially a $10 billion investment to get Star Wars based off of the interest and everything else from their loan. Shareholders are getting antsy. Iger's on his way out. I think it's a retirement. I think he's being allowed to retire, and I think Kathleen Kennedy will be allowed to retire, but they're really being fired because this has become a complete and total joke and a disaster. and we'll see. So, well, in 2 months' time, we'll find out if any of these theories are good or if it's just more speculation. And of the two, I think this is the dumber one, because I don't see any evidence that they know who in the world Rey is at all, because Jar Jar doesn't know who she is. She's just a Mary Sue that he invented, because whammon, it doesn't matter that we had strong, powerful women in the past. We've had some, you know, granted it wasn't in the movies, but we did have force-sensitive women. Oh, that we had them in the prequels. I mean, we had all kinds of non-human force users, male, female, and who knows what in between. But it wasn't part of the main cast, and that's what people are supposedly all upset about, which is baloney. And the people who are upset about it don't watch these movies anyway, and this is why they're going downhill. And right now, the Rise of Skywalker may not even gross $1 billion worldwide. It's really starting to look like the worst Star Wars movie. Adjusted for inflation, it'll be the worst of all of the main show. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Solo, where they're going to lose $100 million. But you know, you adjust these for inflation. The first one is just head and shoulders above all of them, and the original stuff is above all of them. So it's a big number, but it's a highly inflated ticket prices, highly, you know, deflated, you know, inflated dollar, you know, devalued dollar in between. So I mean, already the projections for opening weekend are worse than the Rise of Skywalker, than the Last Jedi, and overall it could gross under $1 billion for the first time essentially ever. And it'd be sad, but, you know, Disney needs to understand what they bought, and they need to create new stories and not rehash the old ones. And, you know, what they did to Luke, Leia, and Han is criminal. And they really need to apologize to the fans for that and give us real heroes and get a new story arc going and plan these out and make much, much better movies. So what do you think? Do you think either of these theories have weight? Do you like them, not like them? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Oh, all right. Let's get this done. We're way out of time. Is that good? Both? Yep. Let's start with this one. 3, 2, 1.